I have always had this problem with single player Ark, and it seems like a non-issue at first, but the longer I've played the game, the worse it has seemed to have gotten. I'm gonna try to explain that here today. So, the main issue that I have, if you were to boil it down into one thing, would be the settings. Now, it sounds like obviously you have all these options, why not just adjust them to your liking? Well, it isn't that simple. I'm going to try to explain why it's such a problem for me, and I feel like probably other people too, um, right now. So, when you first load up Ark for the very first time, Ark Survival Ascended, not Evolved. It was even worse than Evolved. But well, when you load up single player, it will ask you to choose a difficulty. Okay, and let's say a brand new player will come in here and be like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna choose easy." Fine. Here's This is not good. This is bad for the player and it's bad for the company. Honestly, it's not it's bad for player retention. So here you've got 3 times damage, basically no food and water drain, no stamina drain, triple health recovery. Uh, Creatures are super buffed. Uh, this 3 times experience multiplier, 5 times taming, 2 times harvesting, but these 3 things really aren't the problem. The real problem was if you go here to rules, this is the problem. This setting destroys the game. You cannot play with this and feel good about it. If you go from playing official settings to playing with single player on with this turned on, it feels like it's like playing in creative in Minecraft, or it feels like cheating. It's boring. Where is the sense of reward when you can knock out a dino and tame it with 3 berries? Where's that sense of accomplishment? It's just not there. So you might say, okay, well, just turn it off. Well, we're still in easy mode, right? If you turn that off and you go to the world rules, or, well, where is it? I don't know exactly where the setting is, but yeah, world rules. I was looking right at it. So the maximum difficulty is off, and your difficulty level is 0.2. Now, this is going to make dinos max level like 30. There's a lot of problems with this, and that's people new to the game. If they watch content creators, they're gonna get online and say, "Wait, why are their dinos level 150? Why can't I have that?" That's the first problem. The second problem is this game is not balanced around level 30 dinos. It isn't designed for level 30 dinos. And if you play deep into the game on this difficulty on easy mode, number one, you get all your dinos basically for free. I mean, you still have to knock them out, fair, but you don't have to make kibble. You don't have to get prime meat. You can use raw meat, and you basically insta-tame everything. The experience may say 3 right here, but in reality, with this checkbox checked on, which it is when you click easy, it's actually 3 times compiled on top of 2 times. It's actually 6 times experience, which means you essentially level up as if you have 6 times like a 6 times note on all the time. If you kill if you're like level 10 and you kill a raptor with this much experience, you're gonna gain like 5 levels. It's the same thing with the taming speed. This isn't actually 5 times. It's 5 times 2.5 times because of the single player settings. So you're actually on 12.5 times taming speed, if my math is right. Not to mention the dinos are level 30, so it doesn't take any. I mean, a level 30 dino doesn't take any food anyway. The harvest yield, I give a little leeway on this because I understand not everyone wants to play on official harvest because it is pretty slow. I'm not even gonna say that's even a downside. It is also compiled with the used single player settings though, and that I think it's 2 times, so this is actually 4 times in reality also. And I think that all of these things, if you're a new player, will end up just burning you out of the game. I think that you will. Everything is just so easy that it's kind of a joke. And if you want to play on these settings, fine. But I don't think that it should be here where you do that. If you want to play on such easy settings, you should, in my opinion, maybe there should be a third, another difficulty up here, a fourth difficulty saying casual or something, because this isn't easy. This is so easy that it's boring, and I don't think that's just because I'm a long time player. I think it's just objectively you have no challenge. You're not challenged at all. Now we get to medium settings. A lot of the same things apply to medium settings. This is still on half. This is on half. You barely have to eat and drink. It's not really a problem. It's not a huge problem. I wouldn't say. The experience multiplier is still way too high. Way too high. This should be. If the use single player settings is on 2 times when you have that checked, this should be on 0.5 to counteract that. That way you're on 1 times experience. And new players aren't going to know that. And even, let's say, people who play online mostly, they want to come to single player and they don't like know all the settings by heart, which most people don't. They don't even know what a lot of these things are. They'll come in here saying, well, maybe official settings are medium. I don't know. It sounds like an average setting, right? Well, it's not. The max level dino, I think on medium settings, I believe this is 100, or it's less than 150. I know that. I don't know exactly what this is. I'm pretty sure it's 100. Maybe it's 80 or something. And you just have the same repeat problems as if it's on easy. I'm not gonna repeat everything about this, but you also have to consider that medium settings put all the dinos' health and everything on what would be default if this setting wasn't checked, because all of the dinos, if you click restore defaults, these are official settings. So I just click that, and now you have these standard numbers for your dinos. These are the official settings, right? Well, if you choose medium, it's like, okay, well, these are all the normal settings. Here's easy, by the way. Easy is insane. 3 times stamina and oxygen and food and weight, and then 1 time seems like a lot, but when you compare it to 0.2 on the official, it's a huge difference. Anyway, so anything you tame on easy is like insanely powerful, to the point where you could tame like a Carno and just do anything with it, include fighting all of the bosses. Not by its, like, I'm not saying one Carno can solo a boss, but you could easily fight all of the bosses with a pack of Carnos that you just randomly tamed and leveled up a little bit. So you come here and you think, all right, these are medium settings, and these all are all the official settings, right? Wrong. This setting here, again, alters all of these. Not all of them, just the ones that aren't 1.0. These damage and health of all of your tames. And that's honestly a pretty huge deal. People are going to come from official, or they're going to play with these settings and think that dinos are way stronger than they should be, because you can tame, again, a Carno and it can just 1v8 a pack of Rexes, and it's a joke. They're way too strong. There's no challenge whatsoever. Your dinos are in a whole other league. They're like god tier dinos for, to me, no reason. So now we get to hard difficulty. And this actually took a little bit of time for me to check and make sure that I was correct about, because if you saw on hard difficulty, the settings are actually weaker than official. And the reason for that is these numbers being lower essentially counteracts the use single player settings and makes it to where you're basically, these are essentially official. Like, the numbers aren't 100% exact, but it's what they were trying to do. I'm 99% sure about that. Otherwise, I don't understand why you would have weaker dinos. But so you might think, well, okay, now they're official. What's the problem? Well, the problem is you still have the 2x experience. You have the 2.5x taming, which is, again, pretty okay, especially since the experience and the taming are 1, which is default. But then you ask the question, why not just play on official? And the big difference with hard versus official is the breeding settings. Well, these don't seem too crazy, right? 5 times egg hatching. Mating interval is 0.5. That's not really that unreasonable. Baby mature speed, that's 10 times. Honestly, it could go a little higher, right? Well, no, because if you have use single player settings, it's multiplying this by the use single player settings setting 36.667 or whatever it is. So this number is actually way higher. And if you ever play on hard difficulty, you can claim a baby dino and it will grow up within like an hour. This is not balanced. It should not be this way. In my opinion, when they released Ark Survival Ascended, this setting should have just gone away. This should not be in the game anymore. This should have replaced that. This setting, hard, if they want to do it this way, fine. Hard should just be official, level cap 150. And to be fair, hard difficulty is 150 level cap. But it also, these should be default. That way you shouldn't have to counteract your own settings by tweaking the settings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense why they did it this way. I would assume they were just rushing. I'm surprised they even did anything at all. Like, I'm surprised this choose difficulty was even in the game. It seems really rushed to me. At least on hard you have maximum difficulty, but again, the breeding settings are just not, they're just not good. It may not seem like a big deal to have creatures grow up within like an hour, but you're taking pieces out of the game. It's like, you'll never need a Procoptodon, you'll never need a Maywing, you'll never need to get wyvern milk for your wyverns, because they just grow up before you need that. So it's taking away from the game by making it too simplistic and easy. And here's the part where you'll probably say, well, why don't you just play on official settings? First of all, that's impossible. You cannot play single player. I don't even know why this is actually 0.2 by default. Let's just assume this is on maximum difficulty on official settings, right? Well, it takes 50 hours. It's either 50 or 55, I can't remember. I think it's 50. 50 hours to hatch a Giga egg on single or on official settings. Assuming that I'm not wrong. I saw that in a chart of how long it takes things to grow up. Well, most of us don't have 50 hours because online you can leave your egg by your air conditioners while you sleep in real life and go to work the next day and sleep and then go to work the next day again, and it still won't be hatched. That's fine. You cannot do that on single player. Your game's off when you're not on it. So you have to be in game for 50 hours for one egg. That is unfeasible. Even the sweatiest players in the world can't do that. I mean, they could, but nobody wants to. No, people have lives. So another solution, why don't you just rent a server? Well, Nitrado servers suck, and I don't want to. They cost too much money and they're laggy. Well, why don't you host your own server? Well, I mean, I guess I could do that, but again, then I have to leave my PC running all day long, which defeats the whole purpose. I could just play single player and leave my PC on all day. It should be a non-issue. It shouldn't be a problem that we have to deal with as the player. Okay, so why don't you just adjust the settings to match what you want to do? Well, that's what we have to do. And the real problem with that is that even when you, well, maybe, I suppose this could just be me, but there's always that feeling of maybe my settings are too turned up and I kind of feel like I'm cheating. It doesn't feel, you lose a lot of that sense of accomplishment when you don't choose, or when you choose your own settings. It's like, maybe if you turn it up too high, it's like, man, I grew up in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, even if it is something small. It's like, this shouldn't be something that we have to worry about. I think that this could have been great. Personally, I think all of them should have one level or level 150 max dinos. I guess you could adjust some things like the food drain and the water drain and stuff, and that's not a huge problem. The breeding settings are really the problem, and it may not seem like a big deal because why don't you just not breed? Well, you cannot beat this game solo without breeding. It's just not possible. You can't do it. You cannot beat all of the bosses on alpha difficulty without some sort of breeding. Now, I say that, and I haven't yet been able to play through fully with the new genes and traits or whatever. Maybe you can with that. I have a theory that if you pack vampire gene on all of your boss army, you could probably do that. That's just a theory though, and good luck finding 3 vampire genes for your entire army. That seems almost impossible. But again, it shouldn't be up to me to choose the settings. It's nice that we have the option, but it's like playing Call of Duty and you click recruit and you can just walk around, throw grenades or, pull out your pistol, have a nice stroll through the enemy camp. Like, you can do any of that because there's no challenge whatsoever. These are not balanced well at all. This one is almost there. The breeding settings need to be turned down drastically on here. I would almost say that the breeding settings on this page are pretty okay. Like, this should probably be somewhere around 24 or something like that. The egg hatch speed really should be around 10 or 15. And that still takes several hours to hatch an egg sometimes, depending on the egg, of course. I mean, dodo eggs are still going to be like really, really fast, but that's just the way the actual fundamental game is balanced. Like a giga egg just takes way longer because it's a giga. So there is no balancing. You can't just make all of the eggs do the exact same thing. So you have to find a nice balance in there. But right now, I have to basically choose between easy mode, which is a joke, which I'm calling all three of these easy mode because they're all three pretty easy, especially to an Ark player. As somebody who plays Ark, even this one is too easy. It's not official, but that's the problem. It's like choosing between these three, which are too easy, or official, which is way too long. It's not even hard, it's just too long. You just don't have time to wait for that kind of stuff. It's just not feasible. And again, on easy, it's like you don't feel like you earned anything. You'll be standing there with your wolf that has 40,000 health that you tamed randomly at level 30, and that now has 40,000 health, and it's like, why? Anyway, I don't know. This is just something that's always really bothered me about this game. Like, it's my favorite game. I literally have a rock drake tattooed on my arm, like my almost half my arm. It's a big tattoo. Like, I have Ark stuff all around my game room. This is my game, but I feel like this is such a simple thing that could be fixed relatively easily. And of course, I've found settings that I kind of feel okay with. But there's always that little voice in the back of my head saying, like, people play on official. You're basically like look at your dino. It grows up in like 6 hours. That's a joke. People wait days for that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. That's about it. See ya.